Hello and welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. It's Wednesday, hump day.
It is.
Joe and Kim Palo with you as we are each and every Wednesday. As we get started, may I say, you are watching Cleveland's #1 morning show. I have a bone to pick with my friends at First and Edwards. You know, First and Edwards are our young guys that come on right after us, 7:30, and they do a morning show. And they've been saying on their show, and their bump, Cleveland's #1 morning show. Au contraire. This is Cleveland's #1 morning show. We need to specify First and Edwards, what I'm going to tell them they need to say from now on, Cleveland's #1 morning show. That's 30 minutes long because they're 30 and then we're an hour. But yeah, we've been doing this for what? What is this? Like 2 years, 2.5 years?
A long time, Joe.
A long time to be considered Cleveland's #1.
Right.
But anyway, kids, you know, what are you going to do with them? So we've got Tennessee Valley this morning. It's Wednesday. It's going to be a wonderful day today.
It's a short week.
It's a short week.
We had a holiday week, and what a beautiful holiday. I mean,
but we always talk about that.
Right. It's a little, you know, bittersweet.
It's kind of an oxymoron to say Happy Memorial Day.
It's not one of those things that you're, you know, yippee and yon about, but at the same time, it's a day of remembrance.
Yes, it is.
It's a day of reflection. It's a day of teaching your children, really, and being thankful and saying thanks to those who have done so much.
The ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, absolutely. And so it's just been it's a short week. It's Wednesday. We're almost to the end. The weather has been gorgeous. Yeah,
I was going to say, thank
beautiful.
Goodness we don't live over the Midwest because they're still suffering through thunderstorms and severe weather. All through this week they're going to have it.
And I think it even snowed in the Northeast.
Yeah, it did.
Was it the Northeast or was it the
yesterday.
Midwest? I can't remember, but anyway, I mean,
yeah, it was
snowy. So we've got it made, and usually Cleveland doesn't have the beautiful weather, but we have been blessed. We surely have.
And so, you know, and by celebrating the Memorial Day weekend, that is the first official weekend of summer. So
yes.
we're officially...
And that means, guys, that the river opened up.
That's
you know
right.
that. And that means the pool at the YMCA opened up. And that means that the Tinsley pool... my kids used to drive me crazy. We live at the neighborhood right next door to Tinsley Park. And there's a little path they can walk to that. And, I mean, especially when it would start getting warm very early, like in March or April, they would just, you know, when's the pool? The pool. And I would have it. It's on Memorial
See, the wonderful thing is now we have some neighbors that have pools. And now their pools have opened up and they don't know it. But we go swim in their pool when they're not around. We just like to jump around. We find one that's just dive in. Like, you know, our good friend, David. We can just go in David's pool right there. We see it from the road.
Right, there you go.
So David Goins, you may know David's got a nice pool back there. But yeah, so it's going to be a great weather week, a week of weather. So you can enjoy it. I don't know how long it'll stay like this. All my meteorology gauges are all malfunctioning.
Right. Probably with the yellow coating on it, with the pollen on it.
Well, that kind of hurt.
But the humidity hasn't been bad, so I'm not fussing. I'm happy with the weather. It's very seldom in Cleveland that we get this stretch of dry, just mid temperatures. No, not really any relative humidity. I mean, you know, it's just nice outside. So let's enjoy it. Let's be happy while we can. So you can.
We can try. We can try as much as we can.
You can be happy. He can.
But anyway, so yeah, so we've got we're getting into the end of the month, so we're getting ready to start June, which then really starts summer because I don't think summer really begins till like you hit June. You're in May. There's the graduation. It's just starting. Kids are starting to get out of school. But then June comes and it's like, phew. In fact, I saw over the weekend folks flying a kite by the Greenway. Of course, people riding bikes, walking their dogs, just being outside. And we were in the air conditioning. And it wasn't that hot. It really wasn't that hot. But anyway. So we've got, as we said, a great week of weather. We've got a great show today.
We do.
Go ahead and tell us our guest for today.
Well, first and foremostly, we have John Hatfield. He is with Voiceopia, and he knows a lot about something I know hardly anything at all about, but they have started.
That's something new.
And that's, you know, that usually doesn't happen, seeing how I know most everything about anything, but this is something, but this is it's an internet phone system, and it may be a lot more than that, but he's going to tell us a lot about it. It is a lot more than that, I'm sure, but I just got the basic small little thing that I can understand. And then after that, we do do have Matt Ryerson is coming. He's going to talk about the event that's going to be going on June 17th out at the Raider Parkway to be in support of the victims of the Boston Marathon tragedy. And of course, Ron Moore is here to tell us truths, to tell us lies, to tell us, just to entertain us and to educate us on some history of Cleveland. So stay tuned. Go get you another cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah, and what else? That's all we have? We've got John, Matt, and Ron, and of course us. We've got James back here. Yes. You didn't mention anybody else, but we do.
Usually we just talk about.
No. I like to throw everybody in there. Even Dr. Height. Even Dr. Height, I like to throw in there. But we do, and we won't. We'll just lay it. We'll lay the groundwork. We won't talk about it in depth. But when John comes here, as you noticed, and I've asked him before, I'm the only person that's ever asked him this. He told me his last name is Hatfield, so I was wondering, is he related to the Hatfields and the the McCoys? This big show on cable now.
A&E, I think, or either the History.
So we'll ask him that too, and we'll find out which is the right side. I believe it's his side, and we said that to John McCoy when he was here too a couple weeks ago. But anyway. So we're going to be back with more Tennessee Valley this morning when we return, as Kim said, after these messages. Stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now, Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Which camera are we supposed to look at? One?
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTM. Glad you're with us. Joe and Kim Palo again. It's Wednesday, and we are now joined by our very first guest, John Hatfield of Voiceopia. And John, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you guys for having me on. Really looking forward to this.
And real quick, because we did touch on it, so as we said, we have talked about any relation.
Okay.
Are you a
Hatfield? The Hatfields. I've never heard that question before, Joe.
I know. I'm always with these first.
Time. Yeah. First. No, actually, my father is fourth generation. Grew up in Matewan, West Virginia. Okay. So right there in the feuding country. So yeah, directly related to the Hatfield family. I guess that would make me fifth generation.
Wow.
So there you go.
Do you have any friends? Do you have any friends named McCoys?
You know, interestingly enough, no, I don't really. We don't really. We don't really acquaint a lot with the McCoys. So yeah.
Well, see, that's another story for another day, which is interesting in itself.
Exactly.
But John's here today to talk to us about Voiceopia, which is, as Kim said, it's an internet-based phone system that right now
I
is
didn't know you could do that.
Well,
but they did it for us.
It's really unbelievable what it can do. But we were talking before we went on air. But right now, this is based mainly for businesses.
Correct.
What is it? Just tell us what is it.
Yeah.
It's voice over IP?
Correct. Voice over IP phone, you got it. You're getting there. Voice over IP phone service, the IP stands for Internet Protocol. So really, a lot of the viewers that are out there this morning have probably heard of things like Skype, or you've heard of things like Google Talk, where you can set at your laptop and have a phone conversation with someone, or even a video conference. The voice technology that we deliver is delivered a lot like that over the internet. So we take the voice signal and deliver it right over your internet bandwidth.
Okay.
Yep.
And so instead of having what we all know as a landline in a sense,
correct,
you're going to go on into an internet line, and what I understand, you can keep your same number. I mean, you can,
exactly.
If you've had, South Central Bell or whoever they were 100 years ago. I remember having them, the Bell Company, and then AT&T and everyone else. If you've had that number since the beginning of time, you can still hook it up.
Exactly.
And you work mostly with commercial with businesses.
Correct. Right? And a lot of businesses have been around for a while, and they've had the same phone number. So it's very important that those businesses have the ability to port that number, so that a lot of their customers who are used to calling them have the ability to still get in touch with them, and they don't have to go through a number change. So just like cell phones, when you switch cell carriers, you can port your number. It works the same way with voice over IP.
Now, John, what is the advantage of the voice over IP through the internet versus just regular phone line through a regular phone?
Well, the biggest thing that we focus on as a company is, technology is only as good as how it's applied. And, there's a lot of bells and whistles. There's a lot of competitors that are out there that are, they give you a lot. They give you web interfaces. What we try to do is help companies. It's in our slogan. Ideal business communication. So what's ideal for your business? Even though you have an insurance company on this side of town and an insurance company on that side of town, they're not the same. They have different needs. They have different client bases. They communicate with their customers different. So we spend a lot of time on the front end asking questions, getting to understand that business, their customers, so that we can take the technology and keep it simple, where they don't have to learn a whole new way of using a telephone. But yet, there's advantages if they have multiple locations. You can extension dial between locations without really using a phone line. So if you got a Chattanooga office and a Cleveland office and a Knoxville office, all those locations can be interconnected, and you can simply extension dial from one location to another without using a phone line. Okay. So things like that, things like voicemail to email. Companies that have maybe a sales force, and you have a lot of people that are out more than they're in. Someone calls in the old way, you'd have to call back into the office, press in a weird code if you remember it. Right. And then you got to get into your voicemail, listen to it. With this, if someone calls in and you're out, as soon as that voicemail is left on your phone, it's turned into a digital WAV file that's then sent to your email. And these days with smartphones, everyone's connected to their work email at the office. So as soon as that voicemail is left, it allows that salesperson to interact immediately with their customer and give better customer service rather than waiting 2, 3, 4 hours, half a day before they get back to the office to check voicemail.
Now, what about and I know it's so different than a cell phone, but like signal strength, dropouts, or anything like that? It's
a great question. One of the biggest things that you have to understand, anytime you're running any type of voice or delivering any type of media over the internet, broadband is key, your speed. The voice over IP industry is really only about 10 or 12 years old. Right. Primarily because if you think back to 2000, DSL was the big thing, and we were all excited to get away from dial-up. Well, now you have companies out there, cable companies that have invested heavily in the fiber. And they're laying fiber infrastructure, fiber networks. I mean, just down the road in Chattanooga, we've got the fastest fiber, technology in the country. So until really the last 5 years, the biggest issue with voice over IP phone service was dropout. It was the ability to keep good call connection. So what we try to do is anytime we come into an office, that's one of our first questions is, what's the quality of your internet? What's the speed? What's the upload and the download? Because the voice travels both ways.
Right.
And what else is going on in that office? You know, a small insurance company may not use their computer network as much as an engineering firm that's moving big files around. So understanding what's moving across their network and what could potentially be fighting that voice traffic. And then, like I said earlier, if we know that, engineering it properly, putting things in place that help it, you know, run smoothly. So that's, you know, thanks to our engineering team at Voiceopia, who are way more brilliant than I am with that stuff. That's one of our biggest advantages, is we like to do it right on the front end so that it works smoothly and people have a good experience. Because when you're in business and you rely on the phone, you can't have, you know, bad phone service.
Yeah.
Well, and us personally, we are using Voiceopia, and honestly, if there has been an issue, or it's not really been their fault, but if I didn't understand, I couldn't work the way I was supposed to do.
You can't imagine that.
I know you can't imagine that. But I mean, you guys are very timely in getting right back to me, having it taken care of. And what I really love about it is with the old landline that we had, you know, we would have to physically, and this is so stupid, this is like, oh gosh, I've got to fax something that's going to take all of 2 minutes, you know. But this is the same thing, but we would have to manually forward and then just, you know, forward the phone to, it would come to my cell phone, the station number when we weren't there, and then when I got back to the studio or whatever, we'd have to take it off for live programs that we have on. Well, we just told these guys what hours those programs that are live that we're going to do, and that is already automatically set up. So at 5 minutes before the program comes on, it drops off of being forwarded, and then 5 minutes after the program's over, it forwards back to my phone, and I don't forget it.
Exactly.
And because that would be a lot of times we would leave the studio and we'd get halfway home and it would be like, oh, I forgot to forward the phone.
You gotta drive back.
Yes, and we have to do that. And so they just automatically set up on a schedule, and it's worry-free. So, and also the same thing with the extensions at the office that you guys set up. That was great. I mean, if I get a message on the voicemail there, it just comes straight to my phone, and I don't have to worry about it. So it's really something to look at.
I think another advantage is, I guess, if you have a standard phone service with the phone company, if you have a problem, they have to come out and try to figure out what your problem is, to repair it, to fix it, whatever. At Voiceopia, if you have a problem, you call them right from their office. They can log on. You can log on and fix whatever.
And they give you these little messages that tell you what they're doing the whole time. You know that they're engaged with you.
Correct. And that's that. I'm glad you said that, because, you know, traditionally, most of the businesses out there, if you walk around your office, you're going to find a closet somewhere with a bunch of wires and this big box on the wall. That's what's called a PBX box. That's the old phone system that you have. Everything that we do is hosted. And you might have heard this buzzword in technology land, but in the cloud just means it's in the internet, it's hosted. There's no equipment on site. So unlike traditionally where someone's got to roll a truck out, go into your office, figure out what's wrong, figure out which wire's messed up, all of our customer service pretty much can be done remotely, because once it's set up and in place, everything's hosted on our network, on our servers, on our switches, which we have all over the country.
Yeah, and it's a fabulous service, honestly. If you have a business, small business, but large business, you need to at least let them come out, give you an example of what they can do, maybe an estimate, and see if it can work for your business. I know it can. Another thing I was going to ask is, in a complete system, depending upon how big the company is, how many extensions can you have going through the system?
Unlimited. It's virtually unlimited. I mean,
that's infinity plus one.
Pretty much, exactly, and beyond.
That's right, and beyond. Or the new commercial that's infinity times
infinity.
There you go. Right. There you go. Oh man, that gets into math. I know. But yeah, I mean, we can literally set up as many extensions on a hosted system as a company would need. And you know, the biggest thing is that you'll find is traditionally phone service, you had to have a bunch of lines, and what we find with a lot of companies is they're paying for phone lines that they're really not using, or they have more than they really need, you know, and that goes back to asking questions and understanding what's really going on, you know, and then once you understand that, then, you know, you should only pay for the amount of phone lines that you actually need to use. And then once those are set up, you know, the savings, you know, typically we save companies anywhere from 30 to 60% in some cases over their traditional service.
Yeah, and another another point too is that you supply everything. I mean,
correct.
Now, if someone, do you necessarily have to supply everything, or if somebody has some phones that they wanted to incorporate into the system, can that work, or is it?
It's a great question. A lot of businesses that we get an opportunity to speak with have maybe just recently in the last 5 years, you've gone out and invested 10, 15, 20 grand in a nice phone system. So obviously you're wanting to still use those phones, you're used to how the features work. We're a service provider. So unlike a lot of other companies who might just be selling equipment, we're providing your dial tone. So we can actually integrate our dial tone into an existing PBX. So you can still use what you've already invested in, but the dial tone savings in those lines is where you're really going to gain a lot of ground, you know, financially in the savings.
Yeah, it's a wonderful service. Now, you know, there are folks watching right now that have businesses. How would they go about getting in touch with you, making an appointment for you to come out, check out what they have, and maybe give them some kind of an estimate on their system?
Yeah, easiest way, our main phone number at Voice Opie is 423-509-8000. And you can call us, give us a ring, we'll set up a time. We'd love to come out and really just sit down and give you a free assessment. Just take a look around at what you guys have set up in your office and give you some ideas and show you apple to apple, you know, the comparison financially, and then also show you some advantages that you can gain by having the service. So again, you know, 423-509-8000. You can also look us up at www.voiceopia.com, and that's the best way to get in touch with us.
I think another neat feature is that, and I don't know if it's a feature, maybe it's just because all of it is the way it is today, but with this phone system, from what I understand, now all the phones that have all the bells and whistles, a lot of these businesses have, they all have to have some power because they have to be plugged in to be able to operate. But with this particular system, as long as you have the Ethernet cable plugged in, it's powered and everything. Is that not true?
That is correct. If you have, you know, a lot of the companies that we're going into now, if they've got their networking with their computer system set up properly, we're finding a lot of the switches that are running those networks are what's called Power over Ethernet, or you hear the abbreviation PoE. As long as you got a PoE switch on your network, it sends the power through the Cat5 cable. So a lot of times those companies that already have a computer network and those Cat5 cables are already run to every desk where there's a phone, you don't have to have another power, you know, plug in the wall. You can just plug the cable right into the phone and it gets power that way. So it is dependent upon if they have the PoE networking
I'm gonna start
equipment.
using PoE.
PoE?
Yeah, PoE. I've gotten a little lost.
Don't get the PoE confused with JoE, especially when it comes to eating. Well, another point to that, though.
All I know is it works, and you don't have to have one of those square little batteries.
Well, you know, and the reason why I think that's neat too is that a lot of the new phones, back in the old day with the old dial-up phones, it was just the phone line. So even if all your power went out, your phone still worked.
Exactly.
Whereas now a lot of the new phones, if you've got one that's plugged in and for some reason you don't have a cell phone, I don't know why, but you're not going to be able to use your powered phone. But in this particular case, because there is no power, it's just through the Ethernet cable, I guess. As long as you've got computer service, you've got.
But most likely, if you can't have internet, if you don't have power.
Oh, that's true too, I guess.
Yeah, if there's no power to the network.
Yeah, that's true. Right. So forget that. Forget that. That wasn't a good question. That wasn't one of the good questions.
We ran that rabbit a little too long.
I should have stopped back here and then let him try to. Wait a minute. We move on to the next thing. But okay, so virtually as many lines as they want,
right?
And it's
Great
all
savings, guys. It saved us a lot of money.
And it's something that's weird to say. I mean, really, because it's the speaker, it's the phone. But what's weird to say, maybe it was just me, but I noticed it's probably not weird to say, a cleaner, crisper quality signal. It sounded. It didn't sound like you were talking to somebody over a phone, if that
Correct.
makes any sense.
Correct. Yeah, what you're experiencing
Sound like
there,
they were in that box.
Yeah.
Exactly. What you're experiencing is what's called high def voice.
Okay.
You know, TVs have gone through that transition to high definition, picture. Now there's high definition voice signal that's delivered through our handsets. A lot of times you'll experience that not as we continue to grow our customer base locally, more and more people on our service. So if you ever get a phone call from a Voiceopia customer, it's a true high def to high def signal. It sounds like the person sitting right next to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, that may not mean much to you, but if you're on the phone a lot, or if you're talking and having to do business on the phone, it does make a difference.
Well, and a lot of customers of ours, we've noticed that a lot with like law firms and insurance companies, where they're doing a lot.
Matter.
Well, not only that, but they do a lot of conference calls, and these phones integrate with the wireless headset, so the clarity is important because they have long conference calls, they have long things that they're doing over the phone that they have to have good clarity in that signal.
Right. And I'm telling you what, it's worthwhile for you to check out, investigate, see what they can do to help you. And again, they are Johnny on the spot. These guys are service techs waiting for a problem for you to have, and they'll be right there to fix it. It's not like you have to wait or make an appointment. You make an appointment, but they're out there immediately. Like Kim has said, anytime we've had any type of an issue, which has usually been operator error, they're there to fix it for us. So
and they
it's
didn't
a great
even have
service.
to be there. It was just a little note on the email. It was
That's
done,
right.
taken care of. Please, check yes and
See,
yes.
and like and I told you folks months ago that I think this internet thing's really going to take off. Look at this. Now we've got phone systems, this internet, the cell phone thing, emails. That's all going to start working here soon.
That's why I married him.
People, you watch. You mark my words, folks. I've got some foresight. I'm seeing this.
He does have foresight. He does, and he did about 6 months. He did predict that internet.
I said the internet was going to take off. This internet thing, these webs and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so
thank you, John.
Yeah, John. Again, once again, phone number, website for folks that want to get in touch.
Again, 423-509-8000. You can get a hold of us there, and www.voiceopia.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having us on.
John Hatfield of the Hatfield and McCoys, and of course Voiceopia. We're going to be back. We've got Matt Ryerson and Ron Moore in the house when we return with more of Tennessee Valley This Morning after this.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo, now joined by our good friend and a host of the show from time to time. We used to be every Tuesday, you and Matt. Now it's just occasionally because he's so busy now. You know, he's a big guy.
That's right. Well,
Matt
he started into his road to fame.
That's right.
And
that's
then,
right.
You know, he
just leaves the small people behind, as he.
Kelly Ripa called.
And somebody's got to tell Mincy what to do. You know what I mean? And that's a full-time job right there.
That's right.
We are joined by Matt Ryerson, of course, the executive director. Is that true?
Yes.
Is that the correct title of United Way of Bradley County?
That's what he tells everybody.
Yeah,
they put it on my business card.
Put it on the door, on his desk, everywhere.
And now we've got something going on with the United Way we wanted to have you on to talk to us about. So tell us all about it.
This is a really cool event, and it's actually it's not a United Way event.
Okay.
We're a part of a large group of individuals and organizations that are contributing to this, and this is a special event. And so we didn't want any one specific organization here locally to own it. And so what we're doing is what's called a Run Now event. And Run Now is an organization, or really more of a movement, that started after the tragedy in Boston. And for those of you who aren't aware, during the Boston Marathon, there was a bomb that went off. It ended up killing 3 people and injuring 250 some people that were hospitalized. 15 people had to have amputations. It was a terrible tragedy, and there's a really strong running community here in Bradley County. And so a lot of the local folks really wanted to do something. And as is normal in this country, and the thing I love about this country is that where there's tragedy or misfortune, we tend to rally. Absolutely. We rally around the people, we rally around the community, we rally around those in need, and this is no different. And so that Run Now movement started, and it was really a commitment to not allow terrorists to spoil the spirit of our country. And so people rose up. They started having fundraising events around the country for the victims of this tragedy. And so we wanted to do that here as well. So on June 17th, which is a Wednesday night.
Is it?
It is. June 17th, a Wednesday night, we're having a really special event at the Greenway right by the playground, the old First Tennessee building.
Yes.
Old First Tennessee Bank building.
The big chair.
That's right. The big chair,
the
yeah.
Big chair.
On Raider Drive there, right across Cleveland High School, we're going to have a big event in the green area there. At 6 o'clock on June 17th, we're going to have a 5K run. We're going to have a 2-mile walk and a 12-mile bicycle, all starting at 6 o'clock sharp. Before that, we're going to have chalk messages. We're going to write on the Greenway. We're going to write messages to the victims in Boston. We're going to have a lot of vendors. We're going to have blow-ups for the kids. We're going to have the Kona Ice people there. We're going to have lots of stuff going on. We're going to try and make it a fun event. At about 10 to 6, we're going to do a salute to first responders. We're going to invite a lot of our local first responders out. We're going to do a salute because in these tragic situations, it's so often the first people running towards the disaster are our first responders. So we're going to do a salute to our first responders. And then we're going to have this fun run, 5K, and really embrace the spirit of running and staying fit and getting outdoors. With that, there is a small registration fee. It's $5 a person, I think. $10 per family, right?
Which you can't do anything for that. And the great thing, though, Matt, is that if you're not going to run, or ride, or walk, there's other things to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a great playground over there.
That's right.
There's going to be vendors. There's lots of stuff. You can just make a donation. That $5, the $10 registration fee for this stuff. We're not going to turn anybody away. 100%, and that's why I said it's not a United Way event. 100% of those registration fees are going directly to the victims of Boston. There's a nonprofit foundation up there called the One Fund, One Fund Boston in particular, and all that money is going directly to victims impacted by this tragedy. So
I don't think people realize how much, and I didn't, it cost if you are an amputee.
Oh yeah.
In order to maintain, you know, your prosthesis or what, you know, whatever it is that you need, whether it's hands, you know, legs, feet, whatever, that this is not just a one-time purchase and that you have this and you use it, that this is a lifetime of maintenance, of replacing, that they wear and tear. And so this is not just a one-time cost for these families. It is ongoing for the rest of their lives. And so I think it's something really that's going to establish and be needed for years to come.
Absolutely. So this is a really good cause. You know, Bradley County is so good at rallying around its neighbors. And Boston seems like a long ways away, but they're still our neighbors. You know, they still need assistance. They still need support. Like you said, so many of these people, 15 people with amputations, 20-some plus people with severe traumatic brain injuries. You know, those are the type of things that are lifelong and they impact you for the rest of your lives and your family's lives. So they need whatever support. So come on out. The spirit of this event is going to be positive. We're going to really focus on the positives of just being a community. Hopefully we'll get great weather. Everybody will come out. We're going to have the little Run Now bracelets, very much like what Joe is wearing there. They're blue though. We'll be selling those for a couple $. And again, all those proceeds are just going to be put into one check and sent up to the One Fund, and we're going to deliver that. And this is really cool. This is really cool. All right. And I'm just giving a teaser because on this date, now, I think it's June 17th. I want to say it was June 19th. Is that a Wednesday?
No, that's a Friday.
I'm doing it right here. Are you sure?
Using that new fangled
double checking
this. Maybe the 19th.
This thing that Joe said is going to catch on. It is June 19th. I knew it.
I lied to you. See
this? You know, Joe Palo was a genius. He predicted this internet stuff would catch on, and look at that right there.
Right on the spot.
Live on television. We corrected the
I don't even know what he did.
June 19th, Wednesday, June 19th.
19th, that was my bad. I said 17th.
June 19th. And we're getting vendors out there. We're getting stuff out there about 4 o'clock. Chalk will be handed out to do messages. The race starts at 6. Again, that's June 19th, Wednesday. I want to make sure I get that date correctly. June 19th. But that night, right before we go off, there is going to be a huge announcement related to this as a potential fundraiser for the future. Not a potential. It is a done deal. It is super exciting.
Really?
It is really, yeah. You know, I've been sworn to secrecy.
Okay.
I've been sworn to secrecy. But it's going to be announced on June 19th, that Wednesday night, just before we blow the horn and get the race going, right there at the big yellow chair.
Right. You know, that is such a great place. That has become just really a gathering place.
It's Josh Coleman, I believe.
Josh Coleman did the chair. He's the artist.
Dr. Ron Coleman's son, who he's done a few things. He did the hands thing, what I want to say, over at the is it the Woolen Mill?
Yes.
Woolen Mill. Right.
Yeah, and he did the chair, and he's been a great contributor, artist in town here for a long time.
But that whole area there, I mean, it goes far away. You've got along, I mean, almost every day. We live over by that area, and so we travel from the station, from the studio here back home a lot. And there's all kinds, we see every make of dog.
Oh yeah.
It is. I mean, from the purebreds to the muttliest mutts out there having a good time. You've got kids playing, you've got people, you know, it's just lively all the time. And then they've been having events there lately, and it's really been packing out, and that's really being a center point for different functions. So that's a great place. The vendors can set up there. That's you don't realize how big that is until you start walking it off, and then it's like that's a pretty big area over
There's
there.
good parking. The old First Tennessee Bank has a lot of parking right across the street at Cleveland High School. There's a lot of parking. The Greenway is gorgeous. They have a beautiful playground. If you haven't come down, you have kids, you got to check out this playground. It's awesome. Tons of shaded area, which is big this time of year. And then you got to get on the Greenway, and you go a little walk. And like I said, we have a 5K, which is 3 miles, and we have the walk, which is a couple miles. But my wife said, you know, there's a frozen yogurt place about a quarter of a mile. I think I may just go that far. And I said, you know, whatever works. Come on out, walk to the frozen.
Get right up through
there. Whatever works for you.
And then walk back. That's good.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to give kudos to Perkins because that is Roger, and he is a first responder over there.
Yes.
Roger Turpin. He's a fighter, and so I went to school with him, junior high school.
I didn't know that.
I did.
You know Roger
He's
was
older
that
than I
old?
am.
You didn't know he was that old, did you?
Joe!
That's what he's saying. He's just like, I didn't know he was that old.
He's scared of me. As soon as the cameras go off, he'll go, I'm sorry.
Oh, please.
It's true. That is true. That is absolutely true.
I'm so glad you came to see us.
Absolutely.
That's we miss seeing you
Absolutely.
And you
thank
know what? And in all seriousness, you know, you of course, you're the executive director of United Way here in Bradley County, but United Way all over the country. I mean, if you would talk about a group that's into giving and supporting, and I always had a heart for the United Way. I, for years, coached at the Boys Club, and they were like our, I don't know, I would say they were who we looked up to. Our idol was because of all the things the United Way does for children and kids and everybody, but a great partner to have if you're going to do some kind of a fundraiser.
Yeah, you know, and the United Way really is the community, and it is what its title says, that we work in a very united way. We try and partner, and coming up this week, a great example is Blake Shelton. I think the country singer is doing a relief concert of some sort. He is partnering with the United Way out there in Oklahoma, and we've been in contact with him actually this week and giving him some of our recovery experiences that we had here from our April 27th, April 2011 storm, giving them tips on what we did here locally to help them out there in Oklahoma. And so it's a great partnership, and it is a great program nationally, internationally, really, and you know, it's something I'm proud to be a part of.
I mean, you've got one of those jobs that you're making a difference. You know,
Well,
you've got one of
like
those
to
jobs
think
when you look at yourself in the mirror and you're getting all gussied up. You know,
because that's what I do. I get gussy.
Right, you do. Well, you know,
he's like this. He's
going, he gussies a little bit too
tell
much
Alan
too
he's
long.
got to do that, and tell Alan he's got to do that.
No, we're proud of you.
Yeah,
Well,
you know what,
you.
and I
Thank
do
you.
believe, you know, of course, the United Way, they spearhead so many things, but in this particular case, did they spearhead this, our area? Were you guys spearheading this, or is this something that some folks got together and said, let's incorporate the United Way with us, or is it something that you guys?
You know, you talking about the Run Now?
Yes, yes.
Run Now, which I want to again correct, is June 19th.
Yes, not the 17th.
June
not
19th.
Yes, not the 17th.
6 o'clock,
I mean,
which is
you
a
show up on the
Wednesday.
17th.
Yeah, you could be there. You just get there really early.
Right.
No, you know what? This was really a group of runners, a group of guys, and we were saying we got to do something. Yeah, and so I'm a part of that running community,
Okay.
and you know, yes, is the United Way behind this? Absolutely, but so is People for Care and Learning, and Habitat for Humanity, and the Church of God, and so many organizations, and we're all just trying to take our names off it, and what we really want is we just want to call it Run Now, so that people recognize this is for the victims in Boston and not for any local organization. We're not trying to put our name above anybody else's.
And that's what makes it terrific. And you know, you think back on it and the tragedy, it puts everything in perspective.
It sure does.
But I think, and I know you're like me, you're a huge sports fan, and the thing above all that really touched my heart, I mean, it actually brought tears to my eyes, and Kim was like, what? But how, because the Yankees and the Red Sox are probably the biggest rivalry in baseball, period.
Hate each other.
Hate each other, and that's using the term lightly. But after that happened at Yankee Stadium, the Red Sox, at the end of their ball game, they play Sweet Caroline from Neil Diamond. And Yankee Stadium, right after that, at one of their games, played Sweet Caroline.
The entire stadium sang it.
The entire
Joe was
Yankee,
just
I mean, I was
blubbering.
like, man, this is.
And I was like,
And
would
it
you
says-
have done that in the Miami Dolphin Stadium?
With the Patriots,
To
you got to
sing
think.
the Jets? The Jets?
The Jets. The Jets. And when I had to really put myself in that position, and I thought, you know what? It is. That's where everything else is meaningless.
Right. Yeah.
Because you look at, and you know, we're one another, and that's all
right.
secondary. That's
The Boston Bruin game, they sang the national anthem.
Yes.
The guy that sang the national anthem literally stopped, and the crowd just carried the song.
Yes,
It's-
yeah.
You know, that's the spirit. And you know what? If I could give a message to terrorists, you know, the worst thing they can do when they attack our country, we rally.
Yeah.
We absolutely come together as a country. We come together in cities. We come together anytime. you know, if you want to destroy us, give us a political fight. We'll tear each other apart. You know,
Exactly.
we have no problem doing that on our own. But
Right.
when you attack us, you know, you may do some short-term harm, but the truth is, we always rally, and that's the great thing about this country.
And Boston will be back bigger and stronger because of
Absolutely.
it. Next year, the marathon will probably have more entries than it ever has had before.
Yes.
And it'll be bigger and better than it's ever been.
And I'm going to give a little hint, that teaser, that big
Are you
announcement.
I know it. I know what it is.
I just come on out Wednesday night.
You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think.
Are you going to predict?
Well, like I said,
This is even bigger than what you're thinking. It's bigger. I'm telling you, it's bigger.
I'm thinking internet running somehow, but no, but I do. I have something in my head. I will tell you after we go into break. And you tell me if I'm right.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you, Matt.
yeah, we
Thank
want to
you,
thank
guys.
Matt
Thank
Ryerson
you.
for being
Thank
with
you.
us. And of course, and again, the event is June 19th.
June 19th.
6 o'clock,
Wednesday
the
night.
Greenway.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock over at the Greenway.
right.
There.
And the name of the group is?
Run Now.
Run Now.
Okay.
Run Now.
So there you can run, walk, bike, but all of it goes to the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing.
100%.
100%. So it's a great, great, great cause. So go out and support it. Again, thank you so much, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. We're going to be back with Ron Moore and more of Tennessee Valley this morning. After this, please stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Again, Joe and Kim Palo. It is Wednesday. Hope you're enjoying your morning so far. Remember, you're watching Cleveland's #1 morning show. And you'll see the #2 show come on right after us at 7:30.
#1.
That's right. Ron will tell you it's #1. Okay, Ron Moore has joined us as he does each and every Wednesday.
We get the bags of mail.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're like,
I've got some great things today. I'm excited.
Oh, okay, let's get right into it.
Okay.
Tell us.
First, I found a book.
Okay.
And you can buy it at the Museum Center. It's a small little book, a great read, but it is loaded with history and pictures.
Okay.
It's called McDonald and Environs, which I understand means environment. And it tells about all of the early days of McDonald, including about the springs and the resorts. Bradley County was once known, I'll show that again to the book there.
There you go.
Yeah. It's down at the Museum Center. It's about $8, I think, so it's a great little read. But one time, we were known for our resorts here in Bradley County. Resorts in Bradley County, and people from all over the country came here.
Wow.
Do you know what for? The water.
You're kidding.
No.
All the springs we
had what we call healing waters. We had waters, there's thousands of springs all over the country, and about 800 locations around America had resorts go with them. We had 6 of them here in Bradley County. Now, in that water, you had sulfur, iron, arsenic, salt, lime, magnesium, cilia, I don't even know what that is, boron, fluorinate, and other elements.
Arsenic, honey, I'll get you a glass of that.
Well, wait a minute. I went down to McDonald today.
Oh.
And I went down to one of the arsenic springs, and I got a bottle here for Joe. I thought you might.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I'll give you that.
Please.
I'll give you that little bit of money in a little bit.
No, that's quite all right because
that's
very cool. That's very cool. That water is very.
Yeah, so it comes out of the spring.
Wow,
very, very
it's cold.
Cool.
I mean, that is very cold.
Yeah, well, it's spring water.
Yeah.
Well,
so
good. Now, it's still in there.
Yes.
All those things that you mentioned. So is it still healing? Still have healing properties?
Oh yes, trust me.
Okay. All right.
He got healed this afternoon.
Some of the resorts, Ball Springs, had a large house and a row of cabins down there. They used one of the cabins, I understand, in the making of Wild River.
Okay.
But it lasted till about the 1940s. Some of the cabins were still around, and they were still selling bottled water. They were before there was a bottled water craze. They served healing waters there.
Huh.
So
this right here.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was that particular. That's not from Ball Springs. That's from Mineral.
No, but
I'm sure they boiled it first.
Yeah,
that's Mineral Park.
I thought spring water is supposed to be like clean, clear.
But that's arsenic water.
Oh, that's right.
There's sulfur water, black sulfur, and it doesn't look like crystal clear water. It's going to be
it's
iron water. Is going to be a little bit more red tint.
Okay.
See?
So,
all
right.
Then there was Powder Springs, which was not a huge resort area. But they had basically iron water, which they thought was very good for stomach illness. It was a beautiful area.
Okay.
Now, everybody's heard of Mineral Park.
Yes.
Well, that's where Mineral Springs Resort was, right behind where the bar and the dance hall is today down on South Lee Highway.
Oh, yeah.
Right up behind there. It was built about 1910. It had a large 2-story resort, 23 rooms, then some cabins. The cabins were still there. I know in the 60s and 70s back up on the hill there, and I think they're all gone now. There was over 40 springs there at Mineral Springs on their property, and there would be different water with just feet apart.
Wow, had different elements in it?
Yeah, different elements. And their geologists come in and told us that, about all things. It's all in this book. Very, very interesting here. But it's interesting that there'd be iron in one and sulfur in the next and arsenic and... So, just close to each other. Now, a big operation was Tucker Springs. Tucker Springs, everybody's heard of Tucker Springs. It was very popular for a couple of reasons. One was the main reason. There was a train depot right at the bottom of the hill and a little store there. So people would take the train out of Knoxville and Chattanooga and out of Alabama, come here and could stop right there. You have to remember that the roads weren't exactly where they are today. Matter of fact,
you couldn't rent a car.
South Lee Highway was not there. And, you know, you would come down the old Alabama Road or old Chattanooga Road would have been the only way. And there would have been horse and wagon road. We're talking about in the 1800s. A lot of these were built very, very early in the 1800s and lasted up into the... Tucker Springs was 1880 and run to about 1920, if I remember correctly. And so, but they had a 2-story up there. They had a large cistern, which caught fresh rainwater. There was... if you go to where Tucker Springs was, if you go in the back way over there, you can still see where they rocked in one of the springs. It's very well, it's not noticeable now because you have to know what you're looking for. The growth is starting to get over it there, and then of course it was down. A lot of these things started as religious places too, religious camps like Mineral Park. Changed over the years. Yes, it changed over the years. But you know they had different type of waters all around the up the top of the Tucker Springs.
I have never heard any of that about our
neither.
springs and our I mean, I knew we were abundant in the springs, but that they were resorts. I have just never heard that.
Now, Bradley County is said to have the most springs of any county in East Tennessee.
Wow.
You can go all over the county, and there's just the springs everywhere, and a lot of them are capped off and used for our drinking water today. There's several of those down at Waterville Golf Course, that large concrete pad. That is a huge spring which supplies water to Cleveland. Down off Spring Place Road, there's I don't know the name of the spring.
How many balls have bounced off of that onto the?
Yes, I bounced one and went under it one day. So
See, that's called all-in-one. I'm proud of you, Ron.
How I could.
Well, let me ask you this though. So the spring, let's say, that was full of the arsenic. So if you drank a lot of that water, are you a goner? Do you get a lot of arsenic?
No, it was for healing purposes. I don't know.
I don't know
I have not
either.
found out what the arsenic water is supposed to do yet. Okay. I'm still going to research
And there
that.
are good properties to arsenic.
Well, like I say, I know that's one of the arsenic springs, and I thought I'd bring to you, and we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Drink it.
We'll find out.
Let's see what happens.
Just dare me, and I'll do it. I'll take a dare.
You might ought to wait.
Wait till the end of the show, at least.
Yeah. And the last one was Louderback.
Okay.
Springs. It was a 3-story, 2 stories and a big basement. And it had about 29 rooms. You could stay there for $18 a month.
Wow. But that wasn't cheap
you know
then,
where
though.
White Oak is? You're right. It started in 1889 and ran until 1943. Never had electricity. If you go up on White Oak Mountain, up off the interstate went right through where it is there.
Right.
It burned in 1960. It was still standing until then, and someone went up there and actually found the remnants of the piano that was in there.
Oh, no kidding.
There was probably more than water went on at this one. There was some gambling went on.
Okay.
Now, surely with all these, there were springs that were just, they call them freestone water. Basically, it's just good, clear water.
Right.
There was some of that around too. And I'm sure somewhere along the way, there's some whiskey made out of that good limestone. Well, there was limestone water and then the freestone water, which are different. Limestone water and freestone water is different. So, but of course,
The limestone was probably good for making tequila.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was lime in the water, but not
no
that kind of lime.
Yeah, it was different lime.
There was lime in there.
Different lime.
I know.
But, it's just amazing. Like I said, once again, this book, a little lady named Glenn Carson Henry had kept all this information in a notebook.
That is amazing.
And she gave it to Dr. Snell, William Snell, and the students at Lee edited the book, put the pictures and it all together, and printed this little book. And like I say, it's still available down at the museum. This is just a good read. It's not easy to read. It tells about McDonald's School. And the first PTA group was called the Mothers Club, started at McDonald's Elementary. So a lot of great things in this book. And it's surprising what you'll find. The museum has a great bookstore and other things, so I really recommend you go down there and see that. Or you can go down to McDonald Ruritan Club on the first Saturday every month, and they have a breakfast down there, one of the best breakfasts you'll ever eat.
Yeah, they do.
And they'll sell you a book too.
Okay.
Well, how fun. I just
very,
really
very
never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that we had resorts that were associated with the springs. We had so many things.
Some of the pictures
But
are
how
just
fun.
amazing.
I mean, and you would think because of the river that there might have been some things, but I don't know why
I
it never...
know they can't see that, but look at that. That was the
Louderback.
Okay.
It's
that was a nice building.
Big 3-story. Well, wraparound porch all the way around, 2 levels of wraparound porch.
I mean, very interesting. Of course, at the Museum Center, you're going to find some interesting things. But as you said, make your way out to McDonald Ruritan Club. The breakfast, when is
First
it?
Saturday of every month down at the McDonald Ruritan Club building.
Okay.
And you go down there, and the breakfast is about $5. $6 now. It's went up. But I mean, it's a big
And that's this Saturday,
and
folks.
someone brings in fresh maters.
Oh,
not tomatoes. They bring in fresh
Maters
are good.
That's right. They're not good when they're tomatoes.
Gravy and biscuits, scrambled eggs, bacon,
See,
sausage.
making you hungrier now.
Oh,
I know. I was just saying I'm hungry.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Matter of fact, it's this Saturday.
It is this Saturday.
So
it
this
is.
Saturday.
Go down and buy a book.
What time? You know what time?
It starts early. Deb, do you know what time? 7 to
10:30.
10.
It's probably
Let's say 7 to 10.
Right, 7 to 10.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for us for today. We're going to talk to Ron as we go off the air, but we'll see you next Wednesday on Tennessee Valley This Morning. Have yourself a good rest of the week. Thanks for watching us this morning.